Hey everybody, Tim Anderson here, aka Renfell. Welcome back to the channel. If you are a returning viewer today, we're going to be diving into the Babylon 5 reboot and why I think that it's all good things. And I don't really think that there's any issues with J. Michael Straczynski pulling an Amazon here and putting a bunch of woke diversity into the show just for the sake of, working his way down a checklist. But of course, I could be wrong, but we're going to be diving into all that today. If this is your first time joining, welcome. Hopefully by the time you get to the end of this video, you'll like the video enough to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you get updates like this in the future. Don't forget to check out the other playlists here on YouTube because I do quite a bit of different stuff here. Books, reviews, TV show reviews, movie reviews, games, a whole bunch of other stuff. And don't forget to check out the Discord link down below, as well as our Patreon page, which is where my wife and my brother and I are building a fantastical world set in the Weave in the Void universe, 5th edition tabletop campaign, and beyond. Let's dive in. So, back around September 27th, 2021, news broke at Variety.com that Babylon 5 Reboot was in development at the CW from the original series creator J. Michael Straczynski. Now, there was some really good information in this. Obviously, since the news of this came out in early 2022, we heard that the CW was being sold, and J. Michael Straczynski did let everybody know over on his Patreon page that it's not a big deal. He got personal. Let's see the Mark Pedowitz, president of the CW, basically told Straczynski that he was taking the highly unusual step of rolling the project and the pilot script into the following year, keeping Babylon 5 in active development while the dust settled on the sale of the CW. The only change being that Babylon 5 previously was being talked about as in development for fall 2022, and now it's in active development for fall of 2023. Now let's dive back in because I want to talk more about the story of this because I know this is what a lot of people have been concerned about. Is it going to be a woke revival? Is it going to be a diversity reboot? All these different things. Let's talk about some of that stuff going in here. If you read the original press release here from Variety, original series, J. Michael Straczynski is on board to write the project. He's also executive producing under his Studio JMS banner. Warner Brothers Television, which produced the original series, is still going to produce the reboot, even though it's going to be for the CW. The new iteration is described as a from the ground up reboot, in which in this series, John Sheridan is an Earth Force officer with a mysterious background who is assigned to Babylon 5. His arrival triggers a destiny beyond anything he could have imagined as an exploratory Earth company accidentally triggers a conflict with a civilization a million years ahead of humanity, putting Sheridan and the rest of the B5 crew in the line of fire as the last best hope for survival of the human race. Now, we don't need to read the rest of this. What I will go over to, though, is this, and I'm going to read this through. For those of you, you can also pause it, read it on your own. I've got a link to this. You can go read it at your leisure, but I want to talk about this. I'm going to go through this and discuss this in this video. So, on the 27th, which was the same day that the press release came out on Variety, J. Michael Straczynski made a post over on his Facebook page, which, if you're not following him on Facebook, above and beyond his Patreon, the Patreon is the number one place where you're going to find information about everything he works on. But he does a lot of really in-depth posts over on Facebook from time to time. He's not super active, but when he does, he tends to do a lore drop like this one. So he basically says, to answer all the questions, yes, it's true. Babylon 5 is now in active development as a series for the CW. We have some serious fans at the network, and they're eager to see the show happen. I'm hip deep in writing the pilot now, and will be running the series upon pickup. So again, the show has to get picked up, so right now it's just pilot phase. The network understands the uniqueness of Bab 5 and is giving me a great deal of latitude with storytelling. As noted in the announcement, this is a reboot from the ground up rather than a continuation for several reasons. I'm going to butcher this pronunciation. Heraclitus wrote, "You cannot step in the same river twice, for the river has changed, and you have changed." In the years since B5, I've done a ton of other TV shows and movies, adding an equal number of tools to my toolbox, all of which I can bring to bear on the question. If I were creating Babylon 5 today for the first time, knowing what I know now as a writer, what would it look like? How would I use it? how would it use all the storytelling tools and technological resources available in 2021 that were not on hand back then? How can it be used to reflect the world in which we live now and the questions we are asking and confronting every day? Fans regularly point out how prescient the show was and is of our current world. It would be fun to take a shot at looking further down the road. So it will not be retelling the same story in the same way because of what Heraclides wrote and said about the river. There would be no fun and no surprises. Better to go the way of Westworld or Battlestar Galactica, where you can take the original elements that are evergreen and put them in a blender with a ton of new, challenging ideas to create something both fresh and familiar. To those who have asked why we're not just doing a continuation, for a network series like this, it just can't be done, because over half of our cast are still stubbornly on the other side of the rim. How do you how do you telling that's it spelling it. How do you tell a continuing story of our original Londo without the original Veer? Or the original Jakar? How do you tell Sheridan's story without Delenn? Or the story of B5 without Franklin, Garibaldi, or Zack? And this is the part where I'm going to pause for a minute in his reading, because all of these actors have passed on. Like, as brilliant as Babylon 5 was, in the fact that it wasn't horribly long ago in the grand scheme of things, like half of the cast of the original show has unfortunately passed away from um, various things. Old age, sickness, cancer, lots of different things have cropped up over the years. The original Babylon 5 was ridiculously innovative, the first to use CGI to create ships and characters, and among the very first to shoot widescreen with a vigorous 5.1 mix. Most of all, for the first time, Babylon 5 introduced viewers accustomed to episodic television to the concept of a 5-year arc with a pre planned beginning, middle, and end, creating a brand new paradigm for television storytelling that has subsequently become the norm. That tradition for innovation will continue in this new iteration, and I hope to create additional new forms of storytelling that will further push the television medium to the edge of what's possible. Let me conclude by just saying how supportive and enthusiastic everyone at the CW has been and is being with this project. They understand the unique position Babylon 5 occupies both in television and with its legions of fans, and they are doing everything they can to ensure the maximum in creative freedom. A new story that will bring in new viewers while honoring all that has come before. So, I know the biggest thing on most people's minds is that this is going to be some woke reboot of the original show. I don't think that's the case. Straczynski has specifically said that this is not a reboot. He's retooling the entire show with all of the tools in his toolbox, and he's taking some of the original concepts, but writing that from the perspective of today. And if you know anything about Straczynski as a storyteller and a writer, he's a very good writer, very good storyteller. He's not just done lots of stuff in television and film. He's also done lots of comic books and beyond. So I would urge everyone to take a step back, take a deep breath, and just let's wait and see what he's got up his sleeves for this. If you haven't watched any of his other work, take a look at like Jeremiah as an example. I'm going to be doing an episode on the show Jeremiah because I think it's a brilliant show. Also, the work he did on Sense8 with the Wachowskis, which that was obviously more their show than his, but still, brilliant storytelling, brilliant writing at play there. Um, I'd say it's in good hands. Not to mention the fact that he is the original creator of Babylon 5, the creator of all the storylines. He was the showrunner, the lead writer, all those things through all the iterations and all the various spin-offs and everything else. So let's just sit back and wait when let's see what he's going to pull out of his hat, because I have faith that it's going to be something cool and that we love. Now, obviously, we still don't know exactly what's happening because this is, as I understand things, I could be wrong. Somebody let me know in the comments below if I am wrong. As far as I understand, it's still just a pilot at this point. So he's written the screenplay for the pilot. They're going to shoot the pilot and then see if it gets picked up for a series production. We don't know anything else beyond that point. Is it going to be like traditional CW shows where we're getting like 24 episodes per season, or are we going to see something more compact with like 13 to 16 episodes? We don't know anything yet, so we just have to wait and see. If you've gotten to the end of this by this point, everybody, let me know if you liked the video by hitting that like button. Drop comments down below. Let's have a discussion. What are some of your theory crafting? Let me know if you follow Straczynski at Facebook or Patreon. let me know what else you like from him. And of course, if you want to, and I've earned your subscription, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button. And of course, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you get updates for future content as I continue to produce content here on YouTube. Don't forget, you can join the channel as a member if you want to support. You can also support over at our Patreon page, where my wife and my brother and I are creating the World of the Weave and the Void, which is a fantastical setting. It's a 5th edition tabletop setting with a novel series and a point and click adventure game built in. And of course, Discord links are all down there. Thanks, everybody. Looking forward to having a conversation with you all, and hopefully I'll see you in the next episode as well. Until then.